So very good afternoon to all dear participants. Now we have another session in this 5 days program that is on. I'll take some of the case studies and some of the equipments. I think Dr. Sanjay Sharma has shown you some few equipments which we are using as far as entity is concerned. So there, whenever we used to go in any of the site, so definitely we always face new problems, and these entity equipments are really very helpful for monitoring and assessing the condition of structures. Right, so I am using these equipments, entity equipments from 2002 onwards, right? So from last many years, we have tested hundreds of structures by using this entity techniques, and nowadays you all know that in administration is very much concerned about the schools and the offices available near us for their health monitoring and stability concerned. So these entity equipments, they are playing vital role in condition assessment survey of existing structures, especially schools. So many consultancy projects are with us as far as this entity non-destructive testing is concerned. So I'll take up a few practical examples, and I'll show you few videos that how we are doing the things. So I hope that you all will enjoy this lecture, and if anything, your queries will be there, so we'll answer in the at the last. So now I'm presenting my screen. So is it visible?
Visible, sir. Kindly do the slideshow. Visible, sir.
Right. So, so this is about the non-destructive testing. Some of the things definitely will be repeated in this 5 days program, because all entity equipments which we are using and available with us. So every person is having different experiences while using these equipments. So these equipments are very handy, and as we are having concrete as a building material, and it is widely used in the world, and the concrete, because I used to do my research in the field of masonry structures, and because masonry structures are very beautiful construction material, because till date no researchers, no engineers found that much of durable and affordable building material like brick, right? But that brick is the affordable and durable means that brick can last long up to thousands of years. But this is not the case with the concrete structures. So concrete, definitely masonry structures are having their own problems, but this concrete structures, this concrete is not cannot last long, up to many years. So it is having its serviceable life, and after that we need to retrofit our structures, and we need to strengthen the existing concrete structures. Here in Chandigarh, if you'll see that Chandigarh is a place having heritage buildings made up of concrete. Now the problem with these heritage buildings made up of concrete is that when we are saying that these heritage buildings, you cannot touch, you cannot change the texture, you cannot change the chemical physical properties of any kind of property of that material. So it is very difficult to retrofit these structures, because we got some of the projects to analyze the condition of the structures, but they are declared as a heritage structure. So I personally feel that because of concrete, if you want to analyze or if you want to retrofit the concrete, so lot of problem is there. First you need to assess the condition of concrete. So here in Chandigarh, we are having lot of carbonation problem in the concrete, right? So carbonation is the kind of a corrosion associated with the concrete. So you need to find that corrosion, and that concrete structures are deteriorating, and the strength of these concrete structures, it is decreasing day by day. So First, in a conventional method, we used to have some destructive testing. We used to have the cubes. We used to test them for 28 days strength and as per the Indian standard codes. But when the structure has been erected, or the age of the structure is quite long, like 35 years or 30 years old structures, or more than that. So it is very difficult to have this destructive kind of a testing. So the only solution which we are having is this non-destructive testing techniques. So in this technique, first of all, we used to do the visual inspection, and there, if the structure is very old, we used to have we used to ask about the structure by to the nearby people who are residing in the nearby areas of that structure. For example, I tested one few water tanks in Rajasthan, especially in Falodi and Bikaner, right? In that region, the PW over there. So one engineer came and he saw that some of the water tanks, they are in bad shape, but they are usable if they have that structures. We will do it some retrofitting. We will apply some retrofitting techniques to those structures, so those structures can be used can be used to fill the water, and can be used to supply that water in the nearby vicinity. So there we did the visual inspection, and the drawings are not available. We are not aware of the strength, the strength of the concrete at that time. What is the strength of the concrete, the type of the steel, the bar diameter? We are not aware of anything. So first we inquired the situation by the nearby people who are residing there. So some of them, they will tell you that at the time of some old persons, so at the time of construction, so this was the case, and the cement was they procure cement from this factory, and all these many things they will tell you, that the engineer's name, and the whether they are storing, they are getting the potable water or saline water, whatever the condition of that structure. So first we used to inspect from the nearby people if the structure is old and we are not having anything with us, right? So after that, these non-destructive testing can be applied to new as well as old structures. So these are the testing. We can analyze the structures without changing its physical and chemical properties. This is the main part of this non-destructive testing techniques. You need not to change the physical and chemical properties, and you can analyze what is the present strength of the structures, and that how much retrofitting techniques, what kind of retrofitting techniques you need to apply to those structures, right? So another that no, in the non-destructive techniques nowadays we are getting new technological equipments with us, and precisely we are able to find out the strength of the concrete, right? So there are many ways, we'll discuss in later on in these slides. So the cracks, here I will take one example, that here in nearby area of Chandigarh called Baddi, one factory was there. So in that factory, the problem came to us that the slab was casted, and after few months, monsoon season was there. So in that monsoon season, lot of cracks were there. Even the cracks are so wide that rainwater come directly to the floor level from the roof, right? So they were worried that whether they need to cast that slab again, or what is the problem, why the cracks were there. So we went there, and we did this testing, and we find out the cracks and why that cracks were there. And there we recommended some retrofitted solution, and after grouting, the slab was in good condition, and now the factory is in running shape, right? So another thing, very interesting case study came to us, that one army headquarter was there in Leh Ladakh, right? In Leh, when we went there. There, the problem was there. We were so surprised to see the problem. Just a moment. Hello. हाँ हाँ सुधीर जी जी। हाँ मैं जरा, मेरा लेक्चर चल रहा है, उनको बता दीजिए मेरा लेक्चर चल रहा है। Here, in that situation, the problem was very interesting, that they were having one seminar hall, and when in a seminar hall meeting was going on, then when the Jamans were walking on that floor, so vibrations are transmitting to that seminar hall, and you feel like earthquake kind of a situation in that seminar hall. So they all are afraid of why that much of vibration, why that much of rocking is there, why this slab is rocking too much. So when we went there, so they told us the problem. We are not believing that slab is rocking that much. So they demonstrated in front of us. So we sat in that seminar room, and the Jawans came. So really we felt that vibration was there, too much vibration was there. Even nobody can sit in that seminar hall. So there we did the condition assessment survey, and then there we find that the thickness of slab was very less. So by increasing the thickness of slab, by strengthening that slab, the problem was rectified, and now they are using that seminar hall in a good way. So that is how this non-destructive testing plays a vital role, and is very helpful for condition assessment of our structures. So now this non-destructive testing, if you'll see that in this non-destructive testing, there were completely non-destructive, and some tests are semi-destructive in nature, depend upon the need of the assessment, because we are not in favor of destructing the things, destructing any part of our structures, because destruction from the structure means a lot, right? So you are so we try to do some of semi-destructive kind of test where the stresses are very less, right? So it is very important to find out the place where you can do a small amount of damage, and how to repair that damage. So this is very important in this case of non-destructive testing, right? Here also, it is very important to tell you that not a single, not a single technique you can use to find out the present condition assessment, to present condition of the structures. You need to use one or two techniques simultaneously, because they are corrective to each others. So we'll see that how they are corrective to each others, and why it is very important to use two or three techniques while the assessment of the structures. So there are many equipments in non-destructive testing. We are here available with us. Widely known non-destructive testing equipment is rebound hammer. So many of our engineering colleges and many of our polytechnics, they are having skimmed rebound hammer. So this rebound hammer, I feel that Dr. Sanjay Sharma has also told you about the rebound hammer. So rebound hammer is the equipment used to tell you the hardness of the concrete, right? So hardness of the concrete is related to the rebound number, and that rebound number is correlated by the strength of the concrete, and that is given by the rebound hammer manufacturer, and the graph is given to you that at this rebound number, this is the strength of the concrete. But now here I want to mention that rebound hammer will tell you the hardness of the concrete. But if the concrete is carbonated, so you will get very good results. So if you will go by taking this rebound hammer with you, and you are testing your structure, so when you are testing your carbonated concrete, so you will get very good results, right? but the structure is not in the condition that that the strength of the concrete was is very less, but you are getting very good results. So here the role of UPV is very important, because you know UPV is a ultrasonic pulse velocity method, and in this method you are having direct method, indirect method, and semi-direct method. So in that direct method, you can know the condition of core of the concrete. So sometime we feel that when we use this UPV, ultrasonic pulse velocity, here you know when we use that, sometime you know we are getting very less results, we are getting very less readings in this UPV method, but we are getting very good result in the rebound hammer. So you can interpret the result, you can analyze the result, that the structure, the core concrete is in very bad shape, and the surface is carbonated. So there we decide to use the carbonation test, right? So there you can decide you need to go for carbonation test, and after that we used to decide that whether we need to do some test for corrosion or not, right? So this corrosion part I will not touch, because you are having one full lecture on this corrosion assessment of structures by Dr. S.R. Karade from CBRI Roorkee tomorrow in the morning. So I will not go into the detail of corrosion, but this carbonation part, this carbonation, so you can do the carbonation test on this on these structures if you are getting such kind of a readings, right? So there another kind of equipment is profometer and rebar scanner. So here we are with us digital profometer, digital rebar scanner. So this rebar scanner is very handy and very effective equipment, and by using this rebar profometer and rebar scanner, so you can analyze, you can find out the steel, you can find out the diameter of the steel, you can find cover of concrete, you can find the position of stirrups, diameter of stirrups. So anything you can analyze, and these equipments are is attached, can be attached to the computers, and you can directly transmit data from these equipments to the computer, and you can analyze over there, right? So another equipment is your resistivity meter. Is equipment used to find out the corrosion in the structures. So half cell potential meter, again to find out the corrosion in the structures. This core test is a semi-destructive kind of a test. So now the semi-destructive kind of a test is core test. Core test we use to dug out the core from the location where the stresses are very less. So this core test we are doing as per Indian Standard Code. So this core test, this pull out test, and this pull out test is we used to do in the fresh concrete, and that one more test, that is capo test. Nowadays we are new equipment of capo test is there. That capo test can be done on the old structures. A small hole is digged up to 25 mm in the structures, and that pull out pressure from that is related to the strength of concrete. So as per the international codes, or as per the international market, this pull out test and the capo test is more reliable, and that is quite comparable with the rebound hammer test. So many research studies are available for this pull out or capo test. So anyone want to do research in this, so very less research is available in our country, but in other part of the world they are using this equipment quite extensively, right? So this another test is maturity test. Maturity is the kind of a thermometer which is used to find out the temperature of the concrete, because temperature of the concrete increase during the hydration. So it used to find out the temperature of the concrete, and that temperature of the concrete is related to the strength related to the strength of the concrete, right? So this pulse echo test is the we used to hammer the structures with the hammer, and we used to the transmitted waves are captured by capturing unit, and this is how we used to do the pulse echo method. So one by one we will see these tests, and here I'll take care of some of the case studies so that you can well aware of that where and how we can use these equipments effectively as far as our structures are concerned. So these are some of the objectives, why, because it is very important that why you are using these equipments, and what you are going to find find in the structure by using these equipments. So first is very important, foremost objective of these structures are quality control. So this quality control of the structure, so this quality control is the foremost requirement for any of the structures, because you need to analyze the strength of the concrete and quality of the concrete, because nowadays M20 M15 grade of concrete is gone, and now the codes are permitting M20 grade of concrete, but the contractors are still using M15 grade of concrete. So how you can tell how you can measure the strength of the concrete of existing structure? So this is the well-defined equipments. You can find out the quality control and what is the quality of the concrete, right? So another that evaluation of structures, you can analyze the whole structures very easily and very quickly by using these NDT equipments, right? So estimating the compressive strength of these structures. So again, that is a part of quality control, and how the compressive strength of the concrete is there. So here I want to take one example of that compressive strength of the concrete. Here, one case study was came to us, that some of this electric towers need to which were installed in J&K, and in J&K region up to Srinagar, right? So there, sometimes their 7 days strength cubes their cubes fails, and at some location their 28 days cube failed. So there, they were in the observation that the contractor has done something wrong, that is why our 7 days and 20 days cube failed. So there, they want to they called us, and they want to assess the condition of the concrete. So there we assess the condition of the concrete, and there, I want to take this here I want to tell you that we are using two kind of a cement, that is OPC and PPC, right? So many a time with our experience, we saw that when we used to go to test the structures made up of OPC, right? So that structures are they used to gain strength in 7 days and 28 days. But when we are when we are going to test the structures, new built structures made up of PPC, so there we saw that the structure gain adequate strength up to after 90 days. So hydration time of that PPC is more as compared to OPC, but after 90 days, the compressive strength is more. You cannot compare it with the OPC, but the hydration, due to hydration time, it takes some time to gain some strength, right? So this is our practical observation, and at many places when we have tested the structure after 30 days or so we get lesser strength at that particular location. But again, when we have tested that structure after 90 days at the same location, so there we found out adequate strength at a particular location in that structure. So this is how the compressive strength of the concrete can be estimated by using these equipments. And you need to take care whether you are testing you are using these equipments on high performance concrete, or other kind of a concrete which is available. So this is how you need to test that you need to take care of on which concrete you are using these equipments. So here, these equipments are very useful in finding out the cause of the damage and source of the problem. So here, these are like, like a human body. If you will go to the doctor, so doctor will suggest you some of the blood tests, some tests, so that he can know the cause of the problem. Here also, the cause of the damage and the source of problem is very important, because in structure sometimes, we found that the problem is something else and we are diagnosing something else, right? So here I'll tell you one example that one of the structure here in Chandigarh near PCA Stadium, we got we got one consultancy project by NABARD. So in NABARD, they were having their residential complex near PCA Stadium. In that residential complex, so, they were having one problem, that one part of their residential complex of their staff, the part of kitchen, the part of bathroom, and the half part of living this bedroom, is they are constructed in the same location. So they were having settlement of foundation. So they were having the problem settlement of foundation. But when we saw that settlement, the settlement was around 1 feet. So my perspective was that if the foundation was settled up to 1 feet, then the structure might have collapsed, because there we were having a small diagonal cracks starting from lower to upper side, because if you are having the foundation settlement, so cracks will be there from lower to upper side in a diagonal way. So there, when we saw that really the structure, the the floor was empty up to 1.5 1 feet, and we were very surprised to see that how this structure, how this foundation has settled up to that much extent. So there, we found out, we did all the testing, but then we suggested that okay, you do one thing, you fill it this space with the with this debris, or with this brick bats. So they filled that surface up to 1 feet with the brick bats and that bajri and all these things. So that at that time, we came that by retrofitted, we have retrofitted that, we have solved that problem. But after 1.5 year, that same person came back. So he told us, sir, again that problem arises. The surface, that the floor is again settled up to 1 feet. So again, we were surprised. If that will be the case, then there is no chance to that building can sustain, because if that much of the settlement, that building might have collapsed. But that was not the case. Then we went there quickly, hurriedly. So we called some of the experts over there. So when we saw that the problem, that we were not able to understand the what is there, that much of settlement was not possible. So we did all the things, we did all the surveys, but we are unable to find out the source of the problem. So when we were coming back, so one of the expert, he saw that at that particular location we were having some main holes. So when we inquired that what is this main hole, that then we came to know that is the rainwater pipe, rainwater main gutters. And when the rain came, that from that gutters rainwater flows, and that is the drainage system provided over there. So when we asked them to open that main holes, so when that main holes were opened, then we saw that the main holes were damaged completely. And when the rainwater flows from that drains, so it takes all the debris with that all the debris with that water was flushed away, and that the floor is empty up to 1 feet or so. So then we found out what is the source of the problem. Then they rectified, they repaired the rainwater main holes at first. Then they repaired that floor. And till date, I think this was around 8-9 years back. So till date, the situation was not arised again, and we have retrofitted the structures by using this technique. So the cause of the source of the damage and the source of the problem is a very important task. You need to know what is the source of the problem. Here also I want to quote one example, one factory in Batti called Vardhman knitting yarn. So that Vardhman textile factory was there, and we were called to analyze the condition of the columns on which one machine was there. So what that machine was settled, so they felt that the column failed. Due to that, the foundation failed and the machine was settling. So when we went there, so we saw that when we analyzed that those columns with our equipment, so we find that the columns were in very good shape. When the columns were in very good shape, so why the machine, why the problem was there? So when we inquired that what you are doing in this machine, so their engineer told us that they were doing acid wash to the acid wash of the clothes in that machine. So when we analyzed, when we saw that, so we saw that the leakage was there in that machine, and that leaked acid was accumulated in the middle part of that machine, and the middle portion of that machine was damaged. So there, when we told them your columns were not in bad shape, they were all right, but you need to rectify the problem in the middle part of your machine. You need to relay your foundation again, and this is the leakage problem in your machine. And due to that leakage, this foundation and this machine is settling down. So after that, they came to know about the problem, and they came to know about this problem, and the problem was rectified. Here I want to show that the problem, the identify the cause and the source of the problem. Very good example. I'll show you a small structure. Here you can see that this small bridges were there, and that small bridge here, you can see that. Is it visible? Is it visible to all of you?
Visible,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a small bridge, and you can see a school was there. So the problem is that this bridge is retrofitted, right? Engineers, all they have employed all the machineries, and they have retrofitted that bridge. So we were there to analyze that bridge after retrofitting, right? So the problem is that when the rainwater, heavy rain is there, so lot of debris that is flowing in through that bridge, and this school is in danger. So they want that they have retrofitted this bridge, and now the flow is channelized, and now this is no problem to the school. So now we need to analyze that bridge, right? So when we went there, and when we really saw that bridge, so I'll show you the retrofitted bridge. Open with, where is that open with? So here you can see that retrofitting has been done. So they have retrofitted the structure, and they protected the plinth. They protected the plinth of a pier. So this is the pier, and they have protected by providing this small concrete part. And after that, this is how they have done this retrofitting work, right? So this when we went down to that bridge. So we were surprised to see these are some of the cracks still were there in that bridge. right? So this was there because of that rainfall. This is a retrofitted bridge, right? So here, when we saw that, we were, shocked to see that, the contractor or the engineers who did that work. So here you can see that the difference between this girder and the slab, right? So there is no connection between this girder and the slab, and we felt that somebody told him that there is no connection. So how he put that connection between the girder and the slab? Here you can see that. So you can see that here there is no connection between this girder and this connecting part. This girder is in air, and just he inserted that girder above this horizontal girder, so that this connection between this slab and girder can be there. So you can well imagine the retrofitting technique which he has adopted, and how this retrofitting of the bridge was done. Another bridge at the same location, just a few meters away. So another bridge was there. So this was the condition of. You can see that there is no connection between the wall and this girder. Right. So here, when we saw that the second bridge, so here you can see that no diagonal girder was there. So he did not took any pains to put that girder. So difference between this slab and the girder is so much. At one place you can see that there is no connection between the slab and this girder. So nothing, I don't know what they did. So I'll show you some more pictures. So here you can see that the difference between the slab and girder is around half a feet. So when we called the chief engineer, and he was there with us, so he was surprised to see that that work, that how it has been done. So you can see that just that the contractor or the engineer, that dug out one hole and they inserted one girder in that. That's it. So this is how this retrofitting technique has been. This is here the picture is clear that how the retrofitting has been done. So when they saw this retrofitting technique, so they forgot about this non-destructive testing. So they called their JEs and their SDOs, and they were surprised, all of them, that what was there. So there, we felt that nobody saw that how he is doing the retrofitting process, and now they were in opinion that this bridge was fitted, and we need to do the condition assessment survey to know the present condition of that bridge. So this is one of the case that the source of the problem should be known before making any statement. So these equipments are very good equipments. And here, one more study. These all are our experiences to find the cause and source of problem, because many a time many misconceptions are there, and due to that many departmental inquiries and many other things were there in the departments. So here I want to quote one example of Phalodi itself. In Rajasthan, Phalodi, that is the part from where we used to have the salt city is that name of that place is Phalodi. That in Phalodi, so there we were there to test some water tanks. So when we went there inside the city, the water tank was having the age of around 35 years. That water tank is in very good shape, and it is in use, but we did some condition assessment survey. So then that engineers took us to one of the new water tank, which is around 20 years old, right? So that 20 years water tank was in very bad shape, and they were in the opinion to destroy it, to collapse, because it can collapse anytime. So they were in the opinion that see sir, that contractor has done so bad job, and this water tank is of only 20 years old, and you can see the bad shape of that water tank. So when we saw that, they were about to punish that contractor and the engineers who were there to for the construction of that water tank. So, but when we inspected that water tank, then we saw that, and at just a few meters away, that 100 meters away or so, one salt factory was there, and the salt was procured in a open way, in an open one open yard was there, and that salt was procured. And when we saw that the wind speed is very high, and the source of the problem is when the wind was very high, so that salt is this the salt is coming to the structure, and because of that salt, the concrete has been deteriorated, and lot of corrosion problem in the salt is the enemy of concrete as well as steel. So when we told them this is not because of the bad construction, this is because of this problem of salt. The salt is coming with the air, and because of this saline nature here in this water tank, and saline environment in the water tank, because of the salt factory, this water tank is in very bad shape. So then they realized that the source of the problem is something else, but we were thinking that this problem is there, right? So this is how these equipments are very, very important. And here it is these equipments are very useful in determining the material properties, right? So material properties here, I want to tell you one more case study here. Once we went to one factory in Delhi of Phoenicia Tech, right? So when we went there to find out the material properties, so they bought one factory, and it was only ground floor was built, and they want to make second floor, and they want to install some machineries over there. So when we went there, and they told us, sir, these are the columns, concrete columns, and we need to strengthen these columns, and after that we need to make second floor, and there we need to install our machineries, right? So there, when we went over there, and when we were testing those concrete columns, so we were not getting any readings, right? So there we went there to find out the material properties, amount of steel available in that structure, in that column, so that they can strengthen in beams also. So when we went there, when we were using our equipments, they were not giving any readings, right? So when they are not giving any reading, so then we thought that something is problem is there in our equipment. So we decided to take the cores from that concrete columns, because whenever we used to have any doubt, any of the doubt came in our mind, so somehow we used to take cores, but we always discourage to take cores, because or you cannot you should avoid cutting of the reinforcement for this core testing, but it is not possible all the time that you can avoid that cutting of the reinforcement, because it is very closely spaced, right? So when we dug out the core, then we saw that the columns which we are pretending that of concrete, they were of brick masonry, right? So we were surprised to see that the brick masonry column was there. So now then the doubt came into our minds, and then we called the engineers. Then they hammered almost all the columns available on the ground floor. Then they saw maximum columns are there made up of brick only. They were not of concrete, they were of brick. So now, they were so much surprised to see that, and now, forget about the strengthening of the column and forget about the second floor. So they installed, they again, constructed all the columns, and lot of problems were there in that Phoenicia Tech at that time. So here, to determine the extent of damage, how much damage is there in the structure. Sometimes, you know, many structures came to us. Here I'll show you one structure. Here here, yes, here one place in J&K is there, called Bandipura, right? This Bandipura, this is the bridge. You know, the beauty of that bridge was that half part of the bridge was constructed out of steel, and half part of the bridge was constructed out of concrete. सर मैं लेक्चर के बाद आता हूँ, बस सर 15-20 मिनट का लेक्चर नहीं So after that, you know, the concrete part and half part is made up of steel, right? So what happened there when the bridge was constructed? That was open for the users, and the traffic was there in that bridge. So whenever we used to cast any bridge, we used to do some load test on that bridge, right? So when the engineer was doing the load test by keeping all the sandbags, so he heard some noise from the bridge, right? So he heard some noise. So he felt that that might be he put some extra load in that bridge. So he employed you know, some of the workers over there, and to remove that load from that bridge. When the workers were removing that load, so again some sound was there. So again you know, he called one JCB. So when one JCB was there on that bridge, and you know, they were throwing that sandbags in the river, in below that that bridge, that river was there, and the current in the river was very high, right? So when the JCB was there, so again the large sound was came up, and the engineer sent back that JCB, and he employed 22 laborers to throw those bags. So when these laborers were throwing that bags in the river, that bridge collapsed suddenly, and all the 22 laborers died at that particular time. So why they have called us now? They want to, after many years, so they want to make this bridge. Now here the concrete part was in good condition. Now they want to know whether they need to demolish all this part, or whether they need to construct only half of this bridge, because you know, lot of cost saving will be there if this this part of concrete bridge was in good condition, and you know, they can save lot of money. So this is how, this is the steel part of that bridge, right? So so there, you know, when we analyze, this is this is the bridge, and you know, when we analyze this bridge with our NDT equipments, then we found that this bridge is in very good shape, very good condition, and this is the, you can see that the bridge. So we analyzed this bridge, and we found that the bridge, we took out some codes also. So we found that the bridge was in very good condition, and now I think the bridge, the half part of the bridge was already casted, and the work may be in progress. So this is we have tested around 4 or 5 years back. So this is how the extent of damage, how much damage has occurred in the structures, right? So this is the place where the steel part was resting, and these are some of the sandbags used for doing the load test, right? So these are some of the test procedures which we were adopting at that particular part of the bridge, right? So here again, you know, I want to have one you know, example. Here you can see that one building was there in Nalagarh, that is the factory of an air conditioner. So you can see that because of that fire, the factory was in very bad shape. So all the things, this has been destroyed because of this fire. So here you can see that these two beams, so these are not the two beams, these are two stories. the full story was collapsed, and all the columns were collapsed, and the story falls on the another one. So these are the two stories. So because of that fire, lot of fire was there, and that was the complete factory was destroyed. Now, why they called us? They called us because just adjoining to that building, one another building was there, which was their office. So now the employees over there, they refuse to go in that building, because they are in the opinion that because of this fire, because of which that full building collapsed, this building is also having some problem. So this is the adjoining building, you can see that. So this adjoining building is very nearer, just very near to just 3-4 meters away to this building. So now they want us to test this building, so that they are aware of that the present condition of that structure. So we did that testing, and uh, this is all the pictures available with me. So these all are the we did the testing, and we declared that the building is in very good shape. So this is how these equipments are these equipments are very useful in finding out the extent of damage occur in the structure, that how much damage is there in that structure, whether we can use this structure or not. So again, at a similar point, the assessment of safety and serviceability of the structure. This is very important, because nowadays the serviceability of the structure is the main issue or the main problem associated with us, because many a time we used to buy some of the buildings, but we need to find out whether these structures are serviceable or not, right? So here again, I want to take one example. Again, one building of NABARD in J&K, in Jammu, near the Jammu railway station. The residential quarter of NABARD was there. So one earthquake was there once in Pakistan. So the vibration was felt in the Jammu also, and that multi-storied structure situated in Jammu, made up by NABARD, experienced cracks, right? So now the employees were refused to enter in that building because of that collapse and because of these cracks, right? So we went there to find out the safety and serviceability of the structure, whether these structures are serviceable or not. So this is some of the pictures. So this is the building of NABARD, which we have tested, and when we have tested this structure, these are the cracks. So when we have tested the structures, we found that this is the earthquake resistant structures, and all the earthquake features have been employed in that structure. And the cracks which the persons they were looking into, the cracks which were appeared after that earthquake, that was not the cracks which the structural crack, but the cracks which engineers want to make, because in the earthquake resistant design we put some parts, because the earthquake force will create some damage in the structures. So here you can see that some of the cracks were there. So here they were having the opinion that they were having so much of wide cracks in the columns. So these are not the wide cracks in the column, but the separation joint provided in the column. If you heard about the separation joint in the column, so the adjoining, the two buildings should be separate by providing separation joints. So these are the separation joints, right? So when the earthquake was there, so these separation joints came into picture. This is the separation joint. This is the separate column. This is separate column. This is the separation joint. So crack was so wide that person standing over here can be seen from the other part of this building, right? So that was the separation joint. This is the separation joint provided in the building. So the building was constructed in a very good condition, and all the earthquake resistant features were adopted. And I was very nice to see all the earthquake resistant features in that building. So there you can see that this is the separation joint. It is very rarely seen that in buildings separation joints and all the shear walls are provided, but here we saw that the separation joint has been provided in the building and the building was safe during earthquake. So here some of the damage occurred in that building. I want to show one shear wall crack. So these are some of the cracks. So these are not the structural crack. Here, if you will see that these cracks are not the structural cracks. These cracks, why these cracks appears in the building? Because after building this beams and column, these walls are erected. So this joint between this beam and this wall, they fill up some mortar in that, and because of that rocking, mortar came out, and you will see this crack. So this is not the structural crack. This is just a joint between the beam and the wall. So this is the shear wall crack. So if you will see that why the engineers, they were inquired that you must provide the shear wall in the multi-story building. So this is why, because this shear wall take all the shear force and your main structure will be saved. This is the shear cracks appeared in that shear wall provided in this building. So there, I saw that practically that what is the role of the different components in the earthquake resistant construction. Because many a time we used to study many theoretical things, but practically when we used to see the performance of the building because of these features provided in the building, so it is very nice to see all the features. So this is the shear walls and the shear crack in that building. So analyzing that building, this is the wider crack which appeared in that structure, right? So this is the crack. So here, if you'll see the person on the other side, you can easily see that person because through that hole. So this is the separation joint. This is not any crack or something. So here beautifully you will see that always we used to say you should the staircase should be separate from the building by providing the separation joint. Here you can see the separation joint between the staircase and the main structure, right? So here you can see that the separation joint between the structure and the main building, right? So this is how we did this testing in that structure, and we declare that structure safe. And this is how we predict the safety and serviceability of the structure. So this is one of the case study which we did that. So again, when you analyze that what is the problem there in the structure, so it is very easy to formulate the remedial and preventive measures. So for example, you want to strengthen the structure, right? So which strengthening technique you should adopt, whether you should wrap it, whether you should grout it, then how you will know that which kind of a remedial preventive measure you should adopt. Here one flyover was there made up of concrete piers. So the agency, they came to us, so they were not having any faith in the non-destructive testing. So they came to us, so we recommend that you should go for non-destructive testing, because they were having some doubt in the piers, that some piers they were not erected in well, and they were having in the opinion that we need to do some retrofitting technique in those piers. So when we recommend them the non-destructive testing techniques, so they were having the opinion that these tests we are not relying on. So we took it as a challenge, and we told them, okay, we will do the testing. Just tell us don't tell us the bias which you feel that problem is there. You gave us the 5 bias. Out of that, 1 or 2 having problem, and another 3 is not having problem. So then when we went there and when we analyzed so correctly, we told very much precisely that these 2 bias are having problem, and you should grout. This is a major problem, and grouting should be done. So when they grouted that piers, so many bags of epoxy went into that piers. So then they got faith in non-destructive testing, and after that we got many consultancy projects from that agency. So the preventive measures for these measures, that which preventive measure you should adopt. So this is very important. So determining position, quantity and condition of reinforcement is another challenging task in the structure, because if your contractor will say that this column is having 6 columns and rings at this place, so now God knows whether he has placed that reinforcement in an appropriate manner or not. And nowadays we are having the opinion of having earthquake resistant structures, and it is very important to position our shear reinforcement or our stirrups in the columns or in the beams. But how you will analyze that? So by using that profometer and rebar locator, we have kept special lecture on this this profometer and rebar locator by Hilti. So there they will explain that how you can find out the reinforcement and position of the bars in that structures. So this is not only used in columns and beam. We have used in this rebar locator in flyover and in bridges, right? So one similar company which gave us that work of fire. So they were retrofitting one small bridge over Ghaggar river. So there they want to they want to fix the trusses below that deck slab, and that the trusses should be in a similar the alignment should be perfectly in a similar way in the perpendicular to these beams, right? So what problem they are facing whenever they are putting they are fixing that trusses, so steel came into picture, and it is very difficult for them to place that that trusses below that deck slab. So they called us, and we did this profometer reinforcement detailed survey for these all beams below that deck slab, and we precisely gave them the position of that that reinforcement. And after that they changed their design, and as per our position of the reinforcement given by us, they again decided the geometry and the alignment of these trusses. So this is how these equipments can be used very effectively. So estimating the cost of repair and replacement, this is another task, because once that the which condition and which technique you should employ, you should adopt to repair that structure. So cost can be estimated very easily, right? Increase the confidence level of few destructive testing techniques. So here this equipments are sometime life-saving equipments. One small culvert was there in Una. One small culvert was there in Una. Here is a small culvert. You can see that small culvert was there in Auna. So there, one person, the contractor made this very good bridge, but some one trolley person, he caught uh, around 10-15 kilometers away from that culvert, and that trolley was having some faulty cement or that in that trolley. So when the police inquired, so he took the name of this place. So now the contractor was in trouble, and the police case was there. So we went there, and we dug out some cores over there, and these cores are tested, and you can see that the structure was in very good shape. Small culvert was there. So this is the culvert. This is very good condition, and the core was dug out, and we tested that structure. This is how the contractor has been saved, and lot of inquiries was there because of this construction of small culvert. So this is how these equipments are sometime life saving also for many case studies are there. We have tested hundreds of structures, and sometime these cubes create many problems. So many problems we have solved. So another important task, when you have repaired that structures, then evaluation of the structure after repair. So after repair, what is the condition of the structure? So only these equipments are there which can tell you about the repair of these structures. So I hope so. This is the rebound hammer. I hope that Sharma ji took this rebound hammer, told you about the rebound hammer, that how this has been used. So this is the structure. This is the water tank in Bikaner, where we are testing by using this rebound hammer and UPV, right? So this is how these equipments have been used. So we have kept different lectures from each and every equipment. So I hope that you all will appreciate to have different equipments as far as entity techniques are concerned. So we'll explain one by one. So this is all about my lecture. So if you are having any query, you are most welcome. You can unmute yourself.
हेलो सर।
जी मैडम।
सर वो जो सेपरेशन जॉइंट का आपने बोला था ना,
जी जी,
कि तो उसमें क्या था, मुझे थोड़ा समझ नहीं आया वो।
Actually, what is that in one structure, if you are making, suppose two structure L-shaped building is there.
हाँ,
So
हाँ,
rather making L shape, you should make two rectangular shape buildings,
हाँ,
right? So in those two buildings, you need to provide separation joint as per Indian Standard Code. Indian Standard recommend that if you are making load bearing structure or steel structure or frame structure, so around 20 mm, 30 mm, 15 mm, this is the separation joint. But practically it is not possible to have that much of joint.
ये किस चीज से बनता है सेपरेशन
This is
जॉइंट?
not the separation joint, is separate the building, nothing is there. Just you need to separate the building by 50 mm away from each other. That's
ओके
it.
ओके। अच्छा, कोई ऐसा नहीं कि अलग से मोटर वोटर
No, no, no. Just you need to fill it with the crushable material and plaster it. That's it.
हाँ, क्रशेबल मटेरियल से ना।
Yeah.
हाँ, ठीक है सर।
Anything else?
सर, you all will be sharing these PPTs or no? The
No
recordings?
problem. These recordings will be available on YouTube. You can
Okay.
type on YouTube Dr. Amit Goel, all the lectures of STCs, not only this STC, other STCs are also there.
अच्छा अच्छा, ओके ओके।
Just type Dr. Amit Goel, and in that channel, you will see all the PPTs.
ग्रेट ग्रेट।
And these all are free of cost.
या जस्ट फॉर योर।
G. Anybody else? Anybody else?
सर एक्सक्यूज मी सर,
जी हारून जी।
ऐसा है ना, असम में जो रिसेंट एक भूकंप हुआ था उसी में एक अपार्टमेंट बिल्डिंग का क्या हुआ, तो सर जो वॉल है ना उसका सर बॉटम में क्रैक आ गया, मतलब पूरा फ्लोर से ये सेपरेट हो गया थोड़ा सा, बहुत सारे वॉल में ऐसे गैप आ गया सर, तो उसको कैसे क्या?
किधर 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 आया सर, किधर आया, मैं समझ नहीं पाया।
सर,
वॉल सपोज फ्रेम स्ट्रक्चर है।
हाँ सर, फ्रेम स्ट्रक्चर ही है।
फ्रेम स्ट्रक्चर में जो नीचे ग्राउंड पे है कि फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे?
सर फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे है सर, फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे।
फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे आपका जो वॉल का नीचे क्रैक आया?
हाँ सर, फ्लोर से वॉल पूरा अलग हो गया सर, उसमें गैप आ गया।
हाँ तो वो सर क्या है ना, what is there in frame structure when we used to provide rigid walls?
यस सर।
See, understand the phenomena of earthquake and the forces, because you know when you are constructing a frame structure, earthquake resistant structure.
Yes sir।
So you are designing that structure to allow to move, right?
हाँ सर।
Ductility है ना, ductile detailing करते हैं ना।
हाँ सर।
But when you are providing rigid walls in the structures, rigid wall in the structure, I'll show you. If
Okay.
it is there with me, just a minute, just a minute.
Okay sir।
If you ask, then I'll show you if one. Yes, I am having. Just I'm sharing my screen.
Okay sir। Okay sir।
Just a moment. So Harunji, is it visible?
Visible sir, it is visible sir।
See, I am showing you the frame structure. Earthquake is there, right?
Yes
So
sir।
I am showing you very slow movement. This is the flexible wall.
Okay sir।
This wall is flexible, but well imagine this wall is not flexible, made up of brick and mortar.
Yes sir।
Which you are telling?
Sir, it is within the frame the wall is there sir।
This is the frame, na? This is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
column.
frame.
This is the beam.
Okay sir। Okay sir।
Right. So this is the wall in the frame.
Okay sir।
Right. It is depicting the same thing.
Yes sir।
Now I'm showing you the test. Just a moment.
Okay sir।
Here you see that in the earthquake how the structure is moving.
Yes sir। Yes sir।
So now you can well imagine, Harunji, when the structure is moving, when the column is moving, see the deflection of the column.
Yes sir।
Right?
Yes sir।
Here. So when the rigid wall will be there, so now you can see that this wall will be pulled in this direction.
Yeah, from towards left। Yes sir।
And it will be compressed in this direction.
Yes sir।
So when it will be pulled in this direction, the crack will be there in this direction.
Okay।
Right?
Yes,
Another thing, see.
Yeah, it is moving right।
Right.
Yes sir।
So in another second, it is moving in another direction. So you can see that now the tension will be there in this direction and the compression will be there in this direction.
Yeah, yes sir।
Then the crack will appear in this direction. समझ गए? Why it is in this direction?
Yes sir।
Now you understood that.
Yeah, that understand. But in my case, the wall is separated from the bottom.
Now why the wall is separated? This is the in-plane action of that wall, which I am showing you.
Yes।
Now well imagine if it will be in in perpendicular to that.
Yes।
The force will be in this direction. Just a moment, I'll show you. If you ask me, this is my favorite topic. Just a moment, I am having that slide. So Harunji, that is out of plane movement of the wall.
Okay sir।
This is the in plane movement.
Okay।
If the force will be in this direction, if the earthquake force will be this direction, this is in plane.
In plane। Okay sir।
Now if the force is in perpendicular direction,
Yes sir।
then the action of this wall is out of plane. Out of plane means we are throwing this wall outside.
Oh, okay sir।
Right? Then it will collapse totally. That is called as out of plane failure of that wall. How you can save that out of plane failure? Harunji, how you can save
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
How you can save this out of plane failure?
I don't know. Please tell me, sir.
The out of plane failure can be saved only if you will decrease the unsupported length of the structure, and in between you need to provide the band.
Oh, yes, sir.
Only that way you can see in the structures in J&K. They are providing dhajji walls. What is dhajji wall? They are providing frame, in that they are providing small walls.
Oh,
So they are actually reducing the unsupported length of the structure, because you know this wall is having no connection with this.
yeah, yes, sir.
There's
Yes,
no
sir.
connection.
No connection. Yes, sir.
So if you will throw this wall, if you will push this wall out of plane, it will overturn.
Okay, sir.
So
समझ गया.
this is the out of plane failure of the wall, and this is one of the phenomena in many frame structures, and we want to see, reduce this out of plane failure of the wall. That is how have you seen that my technology of earthquake resistant structure, that is that a video that you see that video. In that structure, out of plane direction, I have provided the viscoelastic links, so that is connected with each other. Now in out of plane movement also, it will not fail. So here also, this is the you can see that earlier in rigid wall you are having cracks, diagonal cracks.
Yes, sir.
But in this flexible structure, no cracking is there in the wall, right?
Okay,
So
sir.
it will not have failure of out of plane. Out of plane failure will not be there in this case.
Sir, now how to repair it? Whether it is to be removed fully and
You need to remove it fully and repair it. Again, cast the structure.
yeah. Okay. Thank
You
you.
need
sir.
to remove it fully.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anything else, Harunji? You can. This is my favorite topic.
Okay, sir.
You can call me. I'll explain you quite extensively that how it is there.
Okay, sir. Sir, I will take some photographs of that building and I will show you again, sir. Not today.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So anybody else? Any more queries? So I hope that there are no other queries. So I would like to thank you for patient listening to me, and I hope you understood something out of this lecture, because this is special STC on all NDT techniques. So we will explain each and every equipment in details. So tomorrow, first lecture will be delivered by Dr. S.R. Karade, from senior principal scientist from CBRI Roorkee. So he is the expert and the in charge head of the department for of this corrosion. So I think he's the best person who can explain you about the corrosive environment and how you can rectify the problems. So again, tomorrow we are having expert from industry from Hilti. He will explain the ferro scanner and how you can use you can analyze the results by using this ferro scanner. So I hope you all will appreciate and enjoy this short-term program and all these lectures. So thank you so much. If you are having query, all are requested to join WhatsApp group also. I think WhatsApp group link has already been given to all of you. So please join WhatsApp group also. Thank you so much. Thank you all. We will meet tomorrow at 11 o'clock, sharp 11 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.